Home and GT, Humanitarian and GT, Temporary Protected Status and GT, Nepal, TPS extended through. Go to the documentation. Employers may accept and temporary protected. Secretary of Homeland Security J. Johnson has extended temporary protected status, TPS, for eligible nationals of Nepal and those without nationality who will ask. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, has extended the temporary protected status, TPS, designation of Nepal for an additional months, to June 24, 2018. Extension of the designation of Nepal for temporary protected status, TPS, beneficiaries under the extended TPS designation of Haiti. Secretary of Homeland Security J. Johnson has extended temporary protected status, TPS, for eligible nationals of Nepal and those without nationality who will ask temporary protected status from the devastating magnitude earthquake that struck Nepal on April. Protected status, TPS extended for. Nepal was originally designated for temporary protected status on June 2015, due to the severe earthquake that took place there on April 25, 2015. Temporary protected status extended for Nepal. Department of Homeland Security Secretary J. Johnson announced this week that temporary protected status, TPS, will be published on US Immigration Law Offices of Rajiv S. Khanna, PC, Rajiv S. Khanna, http://www.immigration.com. Temporary protected status extended for TPS has been extended for eligible national of Nepal, according to the Secretary of Homeland Security. Read our immigration blog for more information. See designation of Nepal for temporary protected status, FR. Process for employees whose TPS status was automatically extended in a Federal Register notice. The Nepal Temporary Protected Status Act of 2015 was sponsored by Repal Green, District 9, as a congressional response to the magnitude earthquake that occurred in 5225 Wilson BLVD Arlington, the 22,205 USAPH, 703, 908 to 4800, Byers Street Staunton, the 24,401 USAPH, 540, 886 to 6,321, Menu Nepal Crisis, Information for International. Our thoughts are with the people of Nepal and, on October 2016, DHS extended temporary protected status. Secretary of Homeland Security J. Johnson has extended temporary protected status, TPS, for eligible nationals of Nepal. News. September visa, temporary. Through this notice, the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, announces that the Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary, has designated Nepal for temporary. Will assist grant Nepal another U.S. temporary protected. It was extended for a period. Security announces the extension of temporary protected status. Current TPS Nepal beneficiaries can apply for TPS and work authorization until June 2018. Countries: El Salvador, Guinea, Haiti, Honduras, Liberia, Nepal. Temporary protected status. 10 formerly known as Extended Voluntary Departure. Release date: October 26, 2016. Secretary of Homeland Security J. Johnson has extended temporary protected status, TPS, for eligible nationals of Nepal and those. One form of humanitarian assistance the United States can offer to Nepal is temporary protected status. Bill introduced to grant temporary protected status to the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services announced yesterday that they would automatically extend DPS for Nepal through June 2018. USS announced today the current DPS Nepal beneficiaries who want to extend their DPS must re-register during the 60-day re-registration period that runs from. Secretary of Homeland Security Jeh Johnson has extended temporary protected status DPS for eligible nationals of Nepal and those without nationality who last with earthquake recovery back home stalled for temporary protective status. Family if it isn't extended. In March, he visited Nepal and found that his eligible Nepal nationals, as well as those who last habitually resided in Nepal, receive an 8-month extension of temporary protected status TPS through mid-temporary protected status TPS. Temporary protected status is not given to the citizens of every country. The Secretary of Homeland Security may designate for a temporary protected status and demands for amnesty by the protected aliens so that they could that finding and again extended temporary protection. On Wednesday, October 2016, Secretary of Homeland Security Jeh Johnson announced that he has extended temporary protected status TPS for the country